The way we create art has changed forever again. This time it's Photoshop that's doing all of the innovation. And now when you combine Photoshop with the leading art generator out there that uses AI, which is Midjourney, you can get some incredible results that you have fine-tuned control over. Let me show you. Hello everyone, if you are new to this channel, my name is Jason, I'm the Nerdy Novelist, and on this channel we talk about how you can use AI to write faster, write better, and sell more books. Now, in this video we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to be talking about AI art. I haven't done a lot of AI art videos, but it's something I have definitely planned to get into, and this will be the first of many videos, but I just couldn't not talk about this right now because Adobe Photoshop just released a beta version of the platform that you can play around with right now if you have an Adobe Photoshop or a Creative Cloud subscription. And with that, it's released a bunch of new AI features that you can play around with that are so much fun. And they're not perfect because it's still in beta, but this is going to be one of the biggest steps forward in the creation of art since AI art, which admittedly wasn't very long ago, but there you have it. AI art is an extremely important part of an author's business because many authors do not have the money to create as much art as we would like to. Most of us can barely afford just a single cover for our books, especially when we're just starting out. And that's not to mention other things that we might want to do, like create concept art and things like that, that we just can't do because we don't have the budget. But with AI art, we can do so. And that's why I will be talking about it a lot. But let's talk about Photoshop. Now, like I said, they recently released this beta for generative fill, which is what we were going to look at today. All right, folks, first of all, let's talk about how you can get your hands on this beta version of Photoshop if you have it. First of all, you'll want to pull up your Creative Cloud desktop, and you can see your list of installed apps. And then you'll come over here to where it says Beta Apps, and you'll see this thing that says Photoshop Beta. They have them for Illustrator, Premiere Pro. They all have a beta. But right now, this is the beta you want, Photoshop Beta. You'll be able to hit install and install it onto your desktop. That's how you get access to it. It is not yet part of the main Photoshop suite of tools. So once you have that, let's go over to Midjourney right now. So this is Midjourney in Discord. This is not going to be a video about how to get set up with Midjourney or basic prompting or anything like that. I will be doing a lot more prompting videos about Midjourney in the future. Suffice it to say, I think it is still the best AI generator out there currently, and they are rapidly innovating, and so I have no doubt that will continue, at least for a while. Maybe they'll get bought up by Adobe or someone else, but they do a really good job. Adobe does have its own image generator called Firefly, which is different from the generative fill that we're going to talk about today. Firefly is good, but it is not nearly at the level that Midjourney is already at. It's a couple of steps behind. And so that's why we're going to be working with Midjourney and showing how you can use these two tools together to create some awesome results. It really is quite mind-blowing. So we're just going to take a simple prompt. I've been working on a prompt for creating epic fantasy book covers for a little project I'm working on, which I will tell you about in a future video. But right now, let's just go ahead and type that in. So imagine, and the prompt goes something like this: a man fighting a dragon. We'll just say that's our subject. And the rest is all going to be pretty much style information related to this book cover. And I've spent a while developing this, so if you want to use it for your epic fantasy covers, feel free. We'll say high contrast, wide angle, magic flowing, epic lighting, epic pose, in the style of an epic fantasy book cover image. I have found that if you include book cover image instead of book cover, it will give you just the image and usually leaves out the text. If you try to say, give me an epic fantasy book cover, it will usually have some kind of gobbledygook text in the image, which we don't want. So book cover image, epic fantasy concept art, just to give it that extra flair. And then we're going to give it an aspect ratio of 160 by 256. Why such a random number? Because that happens to be the aspect ratio of a book cover that we upload to Amazon. And it's actually 1600 by 2560. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and see what this gives us. Okay, here are some of the images that it gave us. Of these, I quite like this first one. So I think that is the one we're going to go with for the purposes of this video. Let's go ahead and upscale it. And now we'll go ahead and download that. All right, and that's all we need to do in Midjourney for today. I have a couple of other pre-rendered Midjourney images that we'll take a look at later. But basically, you get the idea. You go into Midjourney, create whatever you want. The problem with Midjourney is that it is impossible to take, say you get an image that you really, really like, but they have one or two little issues that just make it unusual. Maybe the fingers are all messed up. Maybe the lighting is bad. Whatever the case is, maybe there's something else you wanted in the background, and maybe you wanted two people next to each other and each person needed to be distinct from each other. Whatever the case is, Midjourney has no way to go back and edit. They do have a way to re-prompt it and see if it can try again and get something that was close to the one you liked, but it's never going to be the exact same thing. It's always going to be a little bit different. And so this is a problem with Midjourney, and generally speaking with any AI art tool, it's really impossible, very difficult to edit it after it's been created. And it's in order to do that, you would have to, or before, you'd have to go into Photoshop and know how to Photoshop things in and out. And it would require a fair amount of skill to touch up a Midjourney image. Now, with this new tool in Photoshop, we're able to do this in a lot more of an efficient way, so that just a regular, you or me can easily go in there and make it better. So let's take a look at that image that we just generated. I'll go ahead and bring it into Photoshop here. All right, so here's our image. It's not bad. In fact, it's actually quite good. I could easily just use this as is, but there are a few things we could do for it. Let's say we don't really like this person's silhouette. Maybe we want this person to be a woman. All right. With generative fill, we can do that. So let's go ahead and draw a little circle around this person. And over here in this new version, you'll get a little option that says generative fill. We're going to click that, and we're going to give it a prompt of what we want. A female heroine. And hit generate. All right, it gave me a couple options, and it's not going to be perfect. Thankfully, they give you 3 different options here. And none of these are really what we were looking for, and so I'm going to try this again. A female heroine facing away from the camera. Action pose. And we'll see what that gives us. Sometimes you do have to work with this a bit, and as I said, this is in beta. It's not perfect, so we're gonna try a couple of things a few times here. Oh boy. All right, well, none of these are actually really what I'm looking for, so thankfully you can turn this off, and we're going to keep that. Let's see if we can do something just a little bit different and just highlight this right here. And instead of saying a female, we'll just say long hair. Some of it could be a problem with my prompting too. All right, this is better. So we got some long hair here. That one's okay. I like this first one. Still doesn't quite look like a female, but it It does look cool. Now, say we wanted the silhouette of maybe he has an animal companion. That would be something very difficult to do just in Midjourney. So if we highlight this area right here and say the silhouette of a wolf, and let that go, see what it gives us. And as I said, sometimes you have to work with the prompting. Every one of these tools requires you to relearn what a prompt should be like. Now this one I kind of like. That one's not too bad, but it's looking in the wrong direction. That one looks more like a cat. We could run this again, but this one looks good enough that I'll use that one for now. So now he has a little companion. And again, in Midjourney, this would have been impossible to do pretty much with any degree of accuracy to what you wanted. And so this way we can add in little elements like that. Now let's say we wanted this dragon to be breathing fire. So we could highlight a certain amount of this area. I don't even know if that's a good highlight, but we can just say fire coming out of the dragon's mouth. And what's beautiful is it's able to read the image that we have here to make it more or less fit with the tone that we have going on in this. And let's see, fire coming out of the dragon's mouth. Yeah, that's good. Let's just go with that. All right, that's pretty good. It's a little too much, and that's also too much, and that's also too much. This is the best one of the bunch, but I think this was too much. So we're going to say here, fire embers coming out of the dragon's mouth, and we'll give that a try, see if it gives us anything better. And keep in mind, this would take you hours if you were taking fire elements from this dragon and incorporating them just the traditional way of photoshopping them into here. It would take you hours, and now we're able to do it in far less time. Not really hot about any of the this one's okay, but I actually think I kind of prefer the open mouth here, so we'll stick with that. Maybe we can maybe just make it like this and say fire beginning to come out of the dragon's mouth. Hit generate and see what that gives us. All right, that one's not too bad. All right, I like this first one. We're going to keep that one for now. So we have this whole thing. Another thing we can look at is, let's look at this weapon here. Say we don't like how it's coming up here. We want to erase this a little bit. We can just highlight that little section and say remove staff. I'm not entirely sure if this will work or not. The problem, not exactly a problem, but one thing I have noticed as I played around with this is that it does not allow us to use weapons. I can't say like draw a sword in here or something like that. But look at this. It's gone ahead and removed that little bit, and now it's pretty much seamlessly matching the background. So now it looks like he has a nice dagger or something like that. That looks great to me. Right. So this looks good. Let's say, actually, based on the lighting here, I think we could add something else here as well. Let's add a circular selection here and say a full moon shining through the clouds. And we have a full moon shining through the clouds. I think I like this one right here. Yep, this one is a good one. I think we can go with that. All right, great looking image so far. But let's say we wanted to add a back cover. How would we do that? It's honestly, you know, it would be difficult to generate something in Midjourney that would have everything positioned correctly for the front cover, but also have a back cover as well. And so thankfully with generative fill, we can do that. So let's just drag this over here. Something like that. So now we have all of this white space. And now I'm going to grab the rectangular selection tool and select this, and I'm going to overlap it just a little bit so it knows that this should be an extension of this image. And we're going to say a rocky landscape. You could actually leave this blank, but I found it to be far less predictable with that. With fiery trees. I can spell, I promise. Fiery trees scattered throughout in the distance, because I don't want them to be too close. And we'll hit generate. And look at that. This is not too bad. Let's check what some of the other options are. That one's not too bad either. That one's pretty good. Let's go with this one because I want to show off how you don't have to stick with what it gave you. So this tree is great, but I wanted it to be on fire. So let's go ahead and take a selection tool, wrap around that a little bit, generative fill, a tree on fire. Hit generate. Not the best tree on fire. Okay, this one's okay. I would probably work with it and try it a couple more times until I got something perfect, but this one will do for now. And yeah, this is not a bad cover. Now, I could go to town with this. I could really add in a whole lot of different elements. It's already looking pretty good, and I'm sure as Adobe Photoshop's own AI gets even better, it'll get to the point where it's really able to do some amazing things with this. Well, let's look at some other practical applications besides book covers. I have an image here that I've already generated. This is for a children's book that I hope to do, and it's another project I will be talking to you about shortly. But I've already mentioned this, but as you can tell, Midjourney is not really good at putting two subjects together. What I would like to have here is this little sandpiper talking to a sea turtle of some kind. And I was able to create just the one, but trying to create a sandpiper over here and a sea turtle over here is next to impossible in Midjourney because it tends to combine the two a little bit. So you get these weird sea turtle sandpiper hybrids. And that's just the way AI works. It's difficult to achieve some of that stuff. And if you get into really advanced Midjourney prompting, you can sometimes get lucky. But so far, I've had no luck with this particular type of thing. So we can use Adobe to create something that works. So I'm going to just make a selection here. We're going to say generative fill, a sea turtle in a watercolor style, warm colors. All right, and we have a pretty decent look at a watercolor sea turtle that more or less matches the style of the photo. It's not quite perfect. I would want to play with it a little bit more, but already this has gotten me closer than all of the experimenting in Midjourney that I've done before. Now, let's say you wanted to take two separate images in Midjourney and combine them into one. How would you do that? Let's go ahead and look at that practical use case. This time, we are going to create an entirely new canvas. And this will be a blank canvas, and I'm just going to hide the background here. We're going to bring in this photo of this Midjourney image of a sandpiper and stick it right around there, like that. And then we're going to add this image that I also created in Midjourney of a crab. We're going to bring that down. Another fun little thing you can do. The reason I picked this picture of the crab is because it didn't have much of a background. It was easily identifiable what the background is, because I can now select it and say remove background. And now I have these two images that I want to combine together in some fashion or another. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge these layers. I think some people watching, if you're a Photoshop expert, might be mad at me for doing that, but and not keeping them separate and keeping all the data, but it's okay. And from here, we're going to go ahead and select the background just by using the magic eraser tool here, or the magic selection tool, pardon me. And from here, we're going to hit generative fill, and I'm going to describe a sunny day at the beach, watercolor style, warm colors, to try and match the style here, and see what it gives us. All right, now we've got some results here. This isn't perfect, but we can look through some of these. That one didn't turn out at all. Oh, this one I like. This one turned out almost exactly. Now there's some things that will need to be touched up. We're still seeing some transparency here between the crab's legs, so we'd have to work on that. And this sky seems a little bare, and in fact we can probably work on that right now. Let's go ahead and take the selection tool and do something like that. A beautiful cloudy sky, partly cloudy sky, let's say. Hit generate. And look at that. We've got a little bit more definition, a little bit more happening in here. So it's not just blank in that sky area. And it's clearly I didn't ask it to do it in a watercolor style. Remember, it's clearly pulling from the style of the image that we've generated so far and creating something that matches that. Absolutely incredible what this can do. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and this is absolutely mind-blowing to me, and we're just getting started. So if you want to see more videos like this one, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.